Hello chaps and chapettes, how's it going? Screezilla here and I hope you're all well. And you join me on Operation Newport, I believe, Battle Station Defence Newport, I think the name is off the top of my head. One of the operations modes. As you can see, we've got a relatively cruiser heavy team here, 2 Clevelands, a Budnoy, a Cleveland, I think I said Cleveland, didn't I? As well as me in the Glacier. We've got a couple of battleships in the Dunkirks and a New Mexico. So this mission is one of the easier ones, I would say, compared to some of the others out there in the operations mode, because some operations can be a little bit tricky. This one I do find to be a little bit easier than most, but it does depend very much on your team. Now, forgive me, I'm just unwrapping a muesli bar here, just because I thought I'd do a chilled out recording while I'm having a cup of tea. Because I also wanted to talk about the upcoming patch, or the new patch that has been released on all servers at the moment. It's not 100% live on the Asian server yet, I do not believe. 1.71 I think it is off the top of my head. But basically, French battleships are almost released. Now I say almost released because they're not fully released yet. What's actually happened is the French battleships up to the Leon, which I think is tier 7, tier 8 maybe. So you've got, I think, 3 or 4 of the battleships that you can unlock by doing certain missions and tasks through the game. So, a bit like an event almost, that you can unlock these ships for yourself when they come out. Now, when you unlock them, you don't unlock the whole branch, you just unlock that specific ship. So when it goes live, you're still going to have to unlock the other boats in the class. You're not going to have everything open up, and from what I believe is if you say unlock the Leons, you're not going to be able to then unlock the next ship just using that. You have to unlock all previous ships before you can unlock any further ships. But it will be a good little experience booster earner, and also we will be getting a one of the tasks gives us a 10-point captain, who straight away has adrenaline rush and one other skill as well I cannot remember off the top of my head. But that will be very useful for once French battleships come out. Having an experienced captain for your best ship is going to make a difference. The actual release of French battleships probably not coming for about, well, until next patch, until 1.7.2, I'd say. So we've got a fair bit of time until that comes out. There's going to be some time before they are released, of course. Now, without having these missions yet available to me, I can't tell you how they are, because, well, I've not got them ready yet. But as we know in this game, sometimes missions can be incredibly easy, such as win 5 battles and you get something, or they can be incredibly tenuous, like destroy 5,000 planes with destroyers. You know, you're just missions that you just scratch your head and just go, how, why would you do this to us? Now, with these missions, you're actually going to get loot crates. Oh yay, loot crates are back. With the loot crates, I think it's a 30% chance of getting a ship, but there'll also be unique special French camouflage as well, and some other bits and bobs as well. Now, the French camouflage, of course, is very camouflaged, very hard to see, in a very beautiful colour of red, white and blue. Of course, because, you know, you can't have ships that are actually camouflaged. But again, it will help when the release of the battleships comes. This is pretty much like what they did with the Pan-Asian destroyer line, is having that event before the release, so people could get ready for it, could get things up. Some terrible shots there on this Izakaze. Now, we're doing well in this battle at the moment. We have lost one cruiser, but we're all sticking relatively close to the naval station here, which is what I like to see in a team. This mission you can get overwhelmed very quickly if you head out to the outer edges, where that cruiser is at the moment, actually at the 15.9 mark line. The Cleveland out there way back, because enemies will spawn and then you'll be flanked and you will have problems. At the moment we're just taking out the battleships, we're taking out the aircraft carrier, but everybody's sat relatively close in, so we're able to take those ships down in relatively quick succession here, so that's what I like to see. Pretty much just spamming with high explosives most of this game, in all honesty, because I'm getting sort of odd angles on ships. The Glacier is a relatively good cruiser, but it is very light, like most French cruisers. Generally, with high caliber battleship rounds, you can actually survive quite often because they will just pass straight through you. Because your armour is paper thin, but if they do detonate, you will get a big hit of damage. We will see that in a little bit of time. So now we have the Kaiser there. German battleship, again, we're just firing off that high explosives, just setting fire, just causing withering damage, really. We're not doing any spectacular damage, but we're just causing enough damage to cause issue, basically, and setting a few fires. I think we've set about six or seven fires so far. It's, what, 6 fires in this game so far. All helps towards the damage count. 70 shells on target and hitting, so again, that's good. So we're just really just doing our job just to support and take the damage down and just cause as much havoc and problems as possible. Now we're pretty much focused on the left-hand side here, but the majority of the ships are coming down this way. I think that Cleveland's still in the game, which is good. So now the Oba there, just awkward spot, but I'm just behind this island, so I'm not taking too much fire here. Again, it's more about keeping alive and just keeping those guns on target constantly to really damage these ships. The main thing you've got to worry about in this mode are actually the destroyers, because if they get into this this harbour area, it does lose you the 5-star chance, and it does lose you a chance of winning. So you do have to be careful with those. Now my shots are just a little bit off here, but hopefully we will get some of our nice big high explosive rounds on target soon. There we go. Some nice big damage numbers there. So that Fubaki is now looking in poor shape. We are going to cause some serious damage to him. There he goes. The Dunkirk gets a salvo off and takes him out. Launch some hopeful torpedoes there just in case. The Gade there, one of the large German destroyers, going to be giving it some good broadsides. There's no point in switching to armour piercing at the moment because we're mainly fighting destroyers and angled things. So we're just going to go sort of straight through this destroyer if we switch to AP right here, because these guns are relatively high caliber. Nuremberg now, and this is where I'm starting to think to switch to AP, just because we have got a nice juicy side target. But he is wiped out of existence before we can get a shot off. Now this guy is getting very close to our border, but we managed to take out his engine and delete him just in a nick of time. That was super close, because that would have cost us the 5-star rating. That's one of the problems of being so grouped up like we are. We sort of needed somebody on that flank, on that right hand side, just to give a bit more support, so we just needed somebody there we go. Just over in that sort of area there, just on the sort of G to G9 area, G10 area, sort of G9, G8 area just for a bit of extra protection. Now we've got to protect our aircraft carrier that's being chased by 2 cruisers. A Auber and a Nuremberg. And we'll also get some more people joining the battle very shortly. I really do like these operation modes, and I feel they're something I have more fun in a lot of the time than I do in sort of random battles sometimes. I really just enjoy playing these now. Which is kind of funny. It is more that PvE aspect, but I kind of enjoy it. There's just a bit less pressure on there, and you can just have a bit of fun. It's not as stressful. So, switch to armor piercing now, because we have a broadside. So there's no point in carrying on with the high explosive shells. We might as well try and punish this guy with the AP shells. I say we're switching. We should have switched. Pretty sure I do switch at one stage. Somewhere along the line here, we'll be switching, just because we have got that broadside, as I say. There we go. And we're going to punish that Nuremberg with a paddle-in for sailing broadside on. So we fire our first salvo off, a little bit short, but we do go straight into the citadel, take off almost half his health. Second salvo, looking good, and a secondary citadel, and that is the end of that ship. Switch back to HE in a moment, because again there's not much point firing AP at these ships. Fire off the salvo and then just switch to HE here, just because they're all sort of head on. It's not going to cause much problem. It's just going to bounce off generally. So we've got a few more destroyers coming in. Again, they can be problematic, especially to our battleships, of course, because destroyers can launch those torpedoes and cause a lot of damage. So it'll be interesting to see when the task becomes live. Now, apparently you'll be able to buy a container, and when you buy a container you've got a 60% chance of getting a ship or something like that. It increases your chance percentage of getting one of the boats as a mission or something like that. As I said, I'm still not 100% sure how this is going to work. I don't know if you get the ship in the container or if you just get the mission to unlock the ship. Possible unlocking of the ship. So we will see when that happens. But I am very interested in the French battleship line, because the French had some fantastic battleships with the early dreadnoughts and things like that, of course, of the First World War, up until the Dunkirk. And trying to think of some of the other ones that are actually on the list, but my brain isn't working. But there is some really good French battleships, and French battleships are very interesting. So this Koenig here is giving us a bit of a look. Try our best to give him a bit of a punching. So the thing with the French battleships is going to be they're going to be a strange breed, because they have got quite low caliber guns. They also have very high superstructures, so I think they're going to be very... Cruisers are going to enjoy punishing them with HE. I think if you get caught out by an Atlanta, you may well be in some trouble. Now right here we get hit, and we get hit hard, and that wasn't a citadel, that was a single... I think that was 1 or 2 hits just on the stern of the ship there, and you can just see we have just lost pretty much all of our health there. Just from those 1 or 2 shells going through it, it took off at least 10,000 hit points. And that's the problem with this ship sometimes, is it is very, very easy to penetrate and cause a lot of damage to. So you have to almost play this like a sort of fragile cruiser. It's a bit like the British cruisers in that respect. So right now I'm just heading back to port. I'm going to head into the service area. Now there's a Yorick there that's trying to get in, and he's sort of broadside. Now we're trying to get some shots off on him. A little bit short there, but he looks like he's just been deleted. Somebody has got a nice set of hits on that guy. So that is the end of that boat. And it is just the Bayern and the Ismo now left for us to take out. Ismo is sort of broadside on, so I'm keeping up the armor piercing shells here just because you're going to get some good damage with these guns. The French have some good high caliber rounds on them, which you can do some really nice damage with. It's going to be interesting seeing the French battleships, as I say, because they feel, from what I've seen and what I've heard, they look a little bit more like a hybrid of the German and the American battleships. They're almost like if you got a Bismarck and a New Mexico, put them in a bag, shake them around a little bit and said, go at it, boys. This is what you'd get out of it. They've sort of got smaller caliber guns, relatively large. They've got some decent secondary defences as well. Another thing the French battleships will get is the speed boost consumable, and I think that's from rank 8, rank 7 or 8 onwards. Which again will be quite interesting to see, but all in all, it's interesting to get some more of the French craft in here. Now, this Bayern is taking an absolute beating now, and you can see all of our secondary tasks are currently looking good, so things are going well, and that is that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is victory for us. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. I will see you all next time, and I'll let you know more of the French ships when it comes. Until then, this is Screezilla out. Bye bye.